me and you. Hi, everyone. We are excited. This is Together We Are One. We thank you for joining us. Today is Sunday, April 11th, and we are in the episode of relationships. I am your host, Michele.
Marisol.
And I'm Barbara.
And together we are one. So this month is all about relationships, and we are going to be discussing, there's different types of relationships, right?
Correct.
So we're going to be sharing a little bit of that, but I want to remind the viewers that Together We Are One, it's all about encouraging, educating, empowering, and equipping everyone. It is a women's talk show, but it is for everyone because we can all learn from this, right? We can all learn, be educated for our marriage, for our children, for young adults, for every type of relationship, right? And our conversations are real, they are raw, they are transparent because we're real people. We don't want to pretend to be something, pretend that we know it all, or pretend that we're perfect when we're not. There's no such thing out there. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that people understand that it comes from a good heart. It comes from not judging or persecuting. And when we share our testimonies, it's not about putting anyone down or making anybody feel bad, but it's really about sharing our stories so that we also can heal in the midst of this, right? So I am here with two of our panelists, and who are wonderful. They're all wonderful. So we say hi to the other girls that could, every week we're going to have someone. But I do want to remind you that starting in May, the first Friday of May, we're going to start doing our talk show for the spring and summer on Friday evenings. So we're going to be putting that information out there. We're going to be reminding you. We want everyone to join us on Fridays because we know on the summertime everybody wants to be out and about. Right. And so the goal is so that we can all be able to join in and watch, the talk show. We are faith-based. This is not about religion. It's about a relationship. And we're going to be talking about relationships to this month of April. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, ladies, when you think about relationship, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What does a relationship mean to you?
Trust, honesty, loyalty, just being there through the good times and the bad times. Respect.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you fix it? We're having a little and can you bring the camera a little bit closer to us for a minute?
Looks blurry.
I know. I noticed that it looks blurry on there too. A little more this way. That's better.
Perfect.
Can you check on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that you can all see us clearly. Better? No? Maybe it's that light. No. I think we need to turn this light
Maybe
different.
right here.
Don't go in the back.
Thanks, our viewers.
Thanks for your patience.
And bearing with us.
Yes.
No, it's still blurry.
You cleaned your
better.
hands?
Yes,
It looks
it's this, I think.
Yeah, it's like a
Glare.
beam.
Yes, this is it. That one.
So, sorry, we're just trying to make sure we have the right
Okay,
lighting.
there you go.
Is that better?
Yep. Better.
Thank you, honey. So, I'm sorry, you were saying as in relationships, you talked about trust.
Trust, honesty, loyalty, respect. Being there through the good times and bad times.
What about you, Barbara?
When I think of the word relationship, I think of the word partnership, like
Mm-hmm.
building together, being respectful, being patient with each other, knowing that you both come in with flaws, that you're not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but that you respect each other in a way that there's some sort of level of engagement, a level of loyalty and trust, like you were saying, and just a sense of like you're going somewhere together.
Right. So when you think about relationships, relationship is all about connection.
Yes.
You need to have a connection, right? It's about communication.
Oh,
And a lot of times we go into relationships and there's like no communication, right? We don't even realize that.
Right.
A relationship is also about exchanging.
Right.
Exchanging with one another. It's a marriage. It's a bond. There should definitely be a friendship when there's a relationship, right? When you think about a relationship with someone, there are different kinds of relationships, right? We have a relationship with our parents,
right.
well, we should be. A lot of times we don't, because a lot of times a lot of parents believe that I'm the parent, you do what I say, and that's it. There's relationship with co-workers,
Right.
from acquaintances, people that you know, that you build friendship with. There's also relationship with people from the church,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or something that you have something in common. It could be, you know, a sport. It could be a ministry.
Right.
It could also be, it's very important to have a relationship with children. And we're,
Yes.
a lot of parents, we don't have that relationship with children.
Right.
We have you say, I say, and you do. And that's not a relationship. And then they don't know how to have other relationships because they were not taught at home how to have a good, healthy relationship.
Right.
And if we don't have a good, healthy relationship with our spouse, the parent, the other spouse, right? Then how are our children going to learn what's a healthy, good relationship, right? So a lot of times, you know, we talked about being trusted in a relationship, loyalty. We talked about being patient, having love and kindness, and being gentle. That's something that is not really shown
No.
much in a relationship.
Right.
Being patient, being loving, and being kind, because our kind of love is not the other person's kind of love.
Right.
Some people may have their love language may be, I'm going to buy you stuff and that's the way I love you, right? Other people's love is, you know, I'm taking care of you, so that's how you know I love you, but they're not showing you with affection
Right.
or with patience,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so there's different types of relationships. Also is helping each other. A lot of times men will be like, I do that, I work outside, you do the things in the house, but we should be partnering, helping each other. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. And when that doesn't happen, the women get very frustrated
Right.
because they're working outside, they're coming home, cooking, cleaning, washing, taking care of the kids. They're nonstop and they're exhausted. And then when they're exhausted, you know, the man has a little bit of energy and he wants to suck a bit of energy away from the wife when she just wants to rest. But if you partner together, then you're not so tired. You feel appreciated
Right.
and validated that I see that what you're doing, let me help you.
Right.
And so then the wife will be more than happy to give some honey, right? To give some honey to the bee. Let's just be honest here, because it's all about being raw, transparent, and real.
That's right.
It's always also important to support each other.
Right.
A lot of times we don't. A lot of times we have to come to a place where we agree to disagree.
Yes.
I may not agree and like what you like, but
Right.
because you like it, and as long as it's not toxic or harmful to you, I'm gonna support you, right? So I know that there's some things that my husband may or may not like, and I shared this the other day. He knows how I don't like violent movies and all this, you know, fighting and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he dislikes very much the movies that I watch. I just want to have peace and loving, you know, the hallmarks, lifestyle, you know, faith and family.
Yeah.
Just things that I'm just going to sit there and smile, right? And he doesn't enjoy it, right? He doesn't enjoy it, but he knows that I love it. So he will sit there and compromise for a couple of hours because he knows that I enjoy it.
Right.
So that's what a relationship should be about, right? Being able to compromise and help each other and love each other and support each other. Also, you know, he may not be involved in the ministry, but he's always there for me to support me. He'll come to the event, he'll take the pictures, whatever I need that, you know, that I may not have, he will support, he will get it, he will make it happen. So he may not be there like everyone else,
Right.
but he's there. He prays for me. He supports me, and that's great. He'll be like, no, that's your thing. Even though it's still part of his thing,
Ours.
without him not knowing it, right?
Right.
But he supports me where nobody's seen him, in the back, in the back,
scenes.
right? The
Back
back
of
scenes.
scenes.
That's how
Yeah.
my husband supports me, and I love him and appreciate that very much. And he also supports me by working, taking care of what needs to be taken care of so that I can focus on the things of the ministry. And that's very important because a lot of people don't have that, right? So it's supporting one another and doing it with love without, being angry and without complaining. And also honoring the vow of commitment when you got married, when you get married, right? A lot of times we don't know how to honor that vow when we're married. And so it makes it very difficult because a lot of times we're like struggling with, it's just like, it seems like it's just a one way. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not. Our relationship is give and take. You listen, I listen. We agree to disagree. Let's not go our separate ways, but let's just encourage each other, support each other. Sometimes I'll share with my husband some stuff and he'll just be like, okay. And I'll be like, can I get a hug? He's like, all right. But sometimes we need that hug. We need that hug, right?
Yes.
We need that validation.
Yeah.
So what are some of the important relationships to you, Barbara?
I would say my marriage because I feel that it's something that is an extension of what God has placed in my life. We're not perfect. And over the years, we've learned a lot to have a relational type of marriage in terms of how do we interact in a way that we're not almost like getting the worst out of each other and rethinking of the way that we relate to each other. So before we used to be brash with each other or dismissive or angry, yell, things like that. But over the years and thankfully through therapy and marriage counseling, like we've evolved our relationship to a place where it feels like we can be in a space of like equal exchange. We don't fear each other. I'm not scared of him to come up with to talk to him about really tough topics and vice versa. And he's opened up a lot more because of what we invested in our counseling not long ago, but it's something that you have to put an investment in. If you are coming in a marriage with a lot of unmet needs or unhealed areas, like you take that in. And I learned that over time that's where we both kind of came,
Right.
And I was able to advocate for our marriage because I felt that it needed, and it was like a garden, and the weeds come out. It used to be beautiful at first, and you used to prioritize each other, and then the weeds come out and they kind of overtake.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And then you can't see the beauty of that. What was first, why you guys were united in one, as one, in your marriage. So that ends up happening, and you cannot leave that to die. Like you have to go back and cut out the weeds and cut out your own weeds.
Exactly.
Let me be real, because it's about what are we coming to the table with? Are we harboring negativity and animosity and resentment
And insecurity.
Yes.
and we have
Yes.
we both have, but thankfully God through His Holy Spirit and just working in us and through us, like He's been able to carry us through. And again, not to say that we're perfect.
Nobody.
No.
But we've come a long way, and I'm so proud of him and us, and just where we are.
That's awesome.
And that's really great.
Yes.
Because the thing is,
Yes.
we do not know what's going on, but the goal is to be able to learn from each other and grow, right? To start taking all them little weeds out. Like she said, in order for a beautiful garden to stay beautiful, you need to make sure that you prune what is not fruitful and you cut those parts that are not growing, that are not healthy. You also want to make sure that you keep putting soil, which would be love, right? You need to water it. You need to make sure that you take it take good care of it.
Mhm.
And that happens so much, and that's such a great analogy because it
Yes.
happens so much to
Mhm.
every marriage. You forget that you used to bring them flowers, right? That you would bring us flowers. You forget that you would have that date, that
Right.
night date. And it's so important in a marriage to still do those things.
Yes.
Even though when we have children, we tend to forget about each other.
Mhm.
Women, a lot of women neglect themselves,
Yes.
or men.
Yes.
And they start not caring about how they look,
Right.
not taking care of their body, not taking
Mhm.
care of their husband because now they're too busy. They have a lot with the kids. But
Mhm.
before the kids were there, you made sure you made that a priority.
Mhm.
And that's something that it cannot end. When you are married, you need to keep that fire going.
Right. And not take each other for
The
granted.
Not take each other for granted.
Mhm.
Marisol, I have a question for you. Do you believe through your relationships in life, even your relationships with, she's got some really nice sexy shoes here. Sorry. Do you believe that through your relationships growing up,
Mhm.
first with your parents, and then as you became a teenager and a young adult, do you believe that throughout all those different relationships, did that cause hurdle or help in your next relationship with a significant other?
It was a hurdle. It was a hurdle because, again, it was not healthy relationship. My family's upbringing wasn't well. It was dysfunctional, you could say, in some degree. So again, if we don't deal, my family don't deal with those things that were hurting, at that time, they didn't talk about those things, upbringing. So I just saw what I saw. You go through it, and then you start living your own teenage years and relationships. But then again, it's a cycle. It became a cycle, So I knew there was things that were not right. But again, through my insecurities, rejection, fears, all that stuff, it just continued. It was a roller coaster.
So all of that kind of like escalated, and it
Yes.
just kept adding more. And so when you found yourself in your relationship,
Yes.
it came to a point that, is this real or is it not? Is it
Yeah.
healthy or hurtful?
Yeah, well, what happened is I could not believe that somebody could love me. Because, again, I was looking for love, in the wrong places. But when I did get a relationship, I couldn't keep them. I couldn't keep a good relationship, even with friends at times. Because if you're not healthy yourself with the insecurities, let's say you had another friend, another woman friend. If I was jealous or I competed or I compare myself because I didn't love myself, I felt unworthy of self, that I couldn't get, have. But again, it was not a healthy thing. You just wanted somebody to care for you. You wanted to fit in. Through rejection, again, why am I not fitting in there? Why can't somebody, you see clicks and you ask yourself, well, why not me?
Right.
So again, I never had a healthy relationship because, again, I started the wrong way in the relationships, and then I settled.
Right.
I settled for things that it's okay. We think, okay, somebody could hit you or verbal abuse or whatever it is, that it's okay. It's not okay.
That was my next question for you.
It's
In
not
a
okay.
relationship,
It's not
what is
okay.
acceptable and what's not acceptable?
Okay.
In your experience, what you went through before,
Yeah.
and how would you do it now in your next one? What
Okay.
was acceptable and not acceptable
Right.
before, and what would be acceptable and not acceptable in the next relationship?
Being that I'm single now, so definitely I learned a lot. First of all, I have to be healed.
Right.
Again, any relationship that came from a divorce or any trauma or broken home or anything, you have to come to a place. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 20, whatever age you are. There's no age limit.
Right.
You have to come to a place and say, okay, you know what? I need help. That's the first admitting I need help. Find somebody in your church, a friend, somebody that could counsel you and talk to you and love you where you're at. Okay.
And make sure that when you get that person,
Yes.
don't get another broken person.
Correct.
Don't go being broke to
Yeah.
another person that has no experience, that is broke themselves for
Correct.
advice. Don't do that.
Correct. And find
Yes.
somebody that you could trust, okay? Because, again, if I come to you, I want to keep that confidential.
Right.
Because we could, easily fall into the part, You might just be in a gossip area. You're not even talking, but you're still gossiping because you're in it. You didn't say, okay, let's change the subject. Let's go. Let's talk about something else. Negativity pulls negativity. Needy, again, so be careful you don't attract the same people. Okay, so again, what I would do is, again, first and foremost, get help. You got to deal with those soul things, deep hurts, those wounds, those brokenness, unforgiveness, any pain. And you have to go back to those as a young age. Just start talking about it. Because I don't care if you yell. I don't care if you're screaming. I don't care if you're throwing something. Those things have to come out. Because you got to get to the root of the matter. Then we can start talking about those things. Why? And then you're getting to understand some things. Second, because I am single, I have to have a relationship this way. My relationship has to be first and foremost with God. Because as I seek him, again, water, nurture, get in the Bible, back to the basics. Mm-hmm. We have to go back to the basics. Our first love was him, so I need him to help me spiritually that way. So I need him, okay, help me in those areas. And look up. If I'm dealing with jealousy, read up on jealousy. If you're dealing with fear, read up on fear too. Get those scriptures. Start, memorize them, confessing them. Start work, and you got to walk it out.
Right.
So what I would do is you definitely have to go that way. Verbal abuse is not right. Okay, so when you start seeing any kind of verbal abuse with a mate, you have right there. You got to snip it.
Do you believe? I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no.
Do you believe that that's something that you accepted and dealt with before versus now?
Correct. I did because of my insecurities. I didn't want to lose my mate, my partner. I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want to give that person somebody else to have them. Because of my insecurities, my low self-esteem. So if you don't feel good about yourself, you don't love yourself, you're unworthy of yourself, that's what you're going to hold on to. You're going to compromise things that are not, healthy for you. So definitely, those are things that I look for, flags, okay? Again, trust against those things. You got to bring them around your family, bring them around your church family, your pastor, bring the person, woman or man, around the people that you're around, so they could also have, because they see different ways that I might see.
Right.
I might look through the heart, you might look at eyes that I not see. Yeah. And I respect you, and I know your heart is for well-being of mine, then I would say, something, wait a second. I would bring it to the Lord, would bring it, and also when courting, because again, courting, if you're dating, I'm not going to be hugging, you hug, not holding him, talk about the future marriage right then and there, things that, that are not, wait a second, we are just getting to know friendship.
Right.
I didn't have friendship in a lot of my relationships. We jumped into different things because we knew the Lord, this and that, we got counsel, but it's still, no, wait a year, until you really court and see things are going on. But again, you got to make sure that because you're going to see signs. Mm-hmm. That person has to love God more and foremost than me. So absolutely. I'm looking for that.
Brenda, what would you... Barbara. I'm sorry.
I always get it.
You said that friendship is one thing, but one of the things that a lot of times we go through that we would accept sometimes in our life is disrespect, right? Oh, yes. Abuse. A lot of times mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, abuse in a relationship. Mm-hmm. I control the money, I make it, you have no decisions. Right. That's abusive. Whether you want to believe it or not, that would traumatize a person. Yeah. Another things that should not be acceptable, and we accept, we have the bad habit of accepting is you're judging me continuously, right. Or you're disrespecting me, or you're being very selfish and not being selfless, loving, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're being too jealous and controlling and manipulated. These are things and signs that we should be looking out for. Yep. That is not okay. No, you're not. Cheating on me. No, it's not okay that you cheat on me. Okay. I don't care if you say, oh, I'm not sleeping with them. It's not okay. It's not okay to disrespect the person. Lust is lust, and lust is disrespect, and lust is a sin. Mm-hmm. If you look at another person and you lust over them, you're sinning, right? Mm-hmm. So another thing is being selfish. No, if we want to have a relationship, it's about serving one another, loving each other. Right. I have been running into a lot of people that have gone through so much because of insecurity,
Yes.
because of rejection, childhood trauma, childhood loveless childhood, right? And this malignant growth that we talked about, cancer. They really believe the lie that it's okay. I finally left the courage of leaving this person after they were so abusive with me, and they used to beat on me. They would be controlling of the money. I had no say in the house. So let me be with this person because at least they don't beat on me, even though they're still being abusive with the mouth. That's not okay. That's not a relationship. That's a very toxic, unhealthy, malignant growth. And we want to make sure that some of the things that would be acceptable in a relationship that you can build is like you said, getting counseling. It was not the way you wanted it, so it's great that at least you did something about it.
Right.
Other people won't want to. They'll say, you're the problem, there's nothing wrong with me. That's not a relationship. A relationship is give and take, right? I want to share something. As Marisol was speaking, and I said, do you believe that some of the things in your childhood bringing up, and I'm sure with you too, Barbara, that a lot of times we don't have a relationship with our children. Just listen. We don't have a relationship with our children, and what happens is we're the parent. We hide everything. We suppress. We keep suppressing everything that is going home. That is happening at home. We suppress what the parents did to us. We don't share. We don't build a communication with your relationship.
Right.
We shouldn't talk about those things. But then you start suppressing things.
Right.
You feel that you have to be the strong one at home too. Right? And so you don't share your emotions. That's not a relationship.
No, not at all.
It's not a relationship. So as parents, we should be having healthy conversations and relationship with our children. We should have that exchange, that communication. We should be doing it with love. We should have that bond. And not to say that we need to be our children's best friend, because we're their parents. But we do need to have a level of communication and not hide things from them, because then they feel that they can't come and talk to us and they have to hide.
Right.
And so they go on to a relationship, a toxic relationship, dysfunctional behavior, because that's what they saw at home, but you don't talk about it. So now their relationships with friends, with family, has become toxic, right? It's funny because I was having this conversation not too long ago, and someone said, it was actually yesterday, not too long ago, yesterday. I was sharing with someone, a beautiful young lady. I said, it's funny how, some people wish they had a family, period. They didn't have their fathers in their life. They wish they had family, brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all this great stuff. It sounds so great. It sounds really great if it was a healthy, God-fearing foundation of relationship with your family. But, so I share this with this young lady who's very smart, very beautiful, very talented. And I said, it's funny how you yearn and wish for that, right? And so for some of us, we've had that. We've had our dysfunctional family. We've had the aunts, we've had the uncles, we've had the cousins, we've had both parents in the home, but it's been so toxic. So which one is worse? Which one is acceptable and not acceptable? Right? Because the truth is that a lot of times we yearn for something, and then when we have it, we wish we didn't. Because it's unhealthy, it's toxic, there is no relationship, there's no communication between brothers and sisters. You see this animosity, you see this arguing back and forth. Why isn't my aunt talking to my father? Why is my uncle talking about me when they know nothing about me? They're assuming, they're putting me down, they're jealousy. The cousins, they shun you because you're younger. All of these things happen. And a family should be based on a solid foundation, on love, and on relationships. But the truth is that they're not. But I'm going to tell you, if you are God-fearing, and if you are selfless, and if you are loving, God will bring you the right people in your life. And they will become your family. And I have to say that, to God be the glory, I have been blessed in that way. You know, we may not talk every day, we may
Right.
not, you know, be there, but we're there for one another. You know, if Marisol is going through something and the Lord puts something in my heart, how you doing? I'm okay. No, for real. How you doing? Because it's about
Yeah.
loving and
Yes.
caring for one another.
Yes.
You know, Barbara, you know, her husband's going to get deployed. I said, you're not going to be alone. We're here because we're a family. Together we're one.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And God will put the right people if you allow it, right?
Yes.
And you're not sucked into the toxic relationships around you. And you allow God to prune them and cut them out of your life.
Right.
God will bless you with the right people.
Right.
God will bring you the family that He has
Yes.
for you. Because yes, we are born to a family.
Yes.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to stay stuck with them. We love them from afar. We pray for them. If they are toxic and unhealthy, it's best to stay away from them.
Yes.
You know, we can love them because a lot of times in the family, we're constantly telling you what you should and shouldn't do, and we
Right.
ourselves are full of toxic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're constantly judging you, or like the word says, we're looking at your speck of your eye, but we're not looking at the speck of our eyes. Right? We're continuously, what about me? Being jealous. Why she's got the house, or why does
Right.
he have the nice car?
Competing.
And we're competing with one another.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you got this car, let me go get a nicer car.
Right.
That's not what a relationship is based on.
No.
A relationship is based on, you know, being selfless, being loving, being kind, being gentle. And yes, this is all part of love. But God wants us to have a healthy relationship. He doesn't want us to be filled with toxic relationship.
Can I say?
Yes, please do.
I saw Beverly Vaughn. She posted on something that sometimes when somebody's going through something, all you need is to be there and listen.
Right.
And you don't need to talk like you today when you say, I just need a hug. You know, you don't need to talk. Just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, and being myself as a talker, I'm learning that.
No.
Oh, come on.
Not
So
Marisol.
I'm learning that more and
Me
more.
too.
More and more. To just, okay, let them talk. And you know what? It's nice. It is
Yes.
really nice. It
To
really
listen
is.
to
To
them
listen.
intentionally.
Yeah,
and
intentionally. And, you know, and more, and I'm seeing that. And it's like, I like that. You know, I just needed to
We
point that out.
need to, a lot of times we're so busy talking
Yeah.
that we're not even allowing that other person to just talk.
Right.
We're not listening. We're right away jumping the gun. And before they even finish or even have gone halfway, you're already putting in your 2 senses. Listen to the person. Listen to their heart. Listen to their cry.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because we're all bleeding somewhere, somehow. And if you want, and you said something, you said sometimes you just want to talk and you just want someone to listen. And that's what God wants us to do. God wants us to just talk to Him and He will listen.
So
Right.
So good.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And some way, somehow, He will make a way to put the right people in our path to be like, here you go. Or He will put on the right song. Or He will, you know, someone will come and be like, Marisol walked in today and she gave me a hug. And I said, I just need a hug. I don't need words. I don't need to say anything. I just need a hug. And so there's different types of relationships. There's different things that we need in a relationship. We need to, in order to have good, healthy relationships, because we need to have a relationship with our children. We're not going to always agree and with them, and they're sure as heck not going to agree with us, but we still need to have a relationship, communicate with them,
Right.
do it with love, even though they may not receive it with love.
Right.
You know, that's a challenge, but we still need to be true. We need to do everything in love and speak truth. Having a relationship with your child so that they know how to have a relationship with their child. That's one thing I tried with my daughter. There's nothing we didn't talk about. We talked about everything at a very early age. I spoke to her about everything.
Yeah.
But I did it with love. So when she started growing up, she knew right from wrong.
Yeah.
Now, whatever decisions she chose, it was on her. But she can't say that my parents didn't tell me anything about it. And that's why I made this mistake. Like a lot of us, our parents never taught us or talked to us about what is sex,
No.
or what is a relationship, or what's acceptable and what's not acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Or you stay with a man because that you got married. That's what you're supposed to,
Yeah.
even though they cheat on you and they beat on you. No.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not having that communication
Mm-hmm.
Right.
between parents and children, and the parents are not having communication with each other. They're
Mhm.
yelling. They're shunning their children. They're not having that relationship with their child, which is so crucial
It
Yeah.
is.
for their kids, because that's what they grow. A lot of times, parents think, let them learn at school. No, their first school is at home.
Right.
Right. They're,
Mhm.
I always say, my first ministry
Yes.
in my life
Mhm.
is my relationship with my kids
Yeah.
and my kids. That's
Mhm.
like first and foremost,
Mhm.
aside from God. Like,
Yes.
my first ministry is to my children, and I mean, they're in your home. You're raising them, and it's important to talk to them about things that you didn't necessarily grow up talking about.
Mhm.
But I feel like for myself and my husband, we always try to have those tough conversations with them, even though they might be a little serious, and sometimes they might be emotional about it, or we ask them. But I think it helps them understand that they can open up to us, and rather than hearing it from outside of our
Right.
home,
Right.
like, they're gonna get it straight from us.
Right.
We're not
Right.
gonna
Sugarcoat it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we're not gonna necessarily let it, leave it up to society, because society has issues, and my home is my
You
home,
think?
and my kids are my kids, and you
It's
know what
sacred.
I mean.
Yeah.
They're sacred. They're like, nobody can show them the way except
Right.
me
Right.
through God. And so we always try to, talk to them. Every now and then I have conversations with them, especially around, roles, like as a female and male, or like, healthy relationships with other family members, or, just being, appropriate,
Oh,
what's
okay.
appropriate and what's not, because they're still young. But I have a 9-year-old, and he's a lot more, he's an old soul.
Yeah.
He's a cutie.
Oh.
And
He
when I
is.
talk to him, and he
Antonio.
yes, and he opens up to me about, I don't want to marry anybody yet. I'm like, baby, you don't gotta marry nobody right now, because he loves me so much. I'm like, listen, we're gonna prepare you to look for the right qualities, okay? We're gonna equip you with the right advice. We're not gonna let you just pick whatever, and you don't have to be scared. Right now, you don't gotta get married. My daughter too. I don't want to be married, mommy. I'm like, no, you don't gotta be married right now. And it's funny, but even at that young
Yeah.
age, you impress upon them. Like right now, you can look to your dad for
Mhm.
qualities about your dad that are admirable,
Mm-hmm.
that you could look onto when you get older, for when it's appropriate for you to have a relationship with another person, with another man, or vice or my son.
Right.
Look onto my qualities, and
Yes.
what's good about me that you can see in some other person, another woman. So that's what we talk about in their little world.
When we're growing up and we start like having friends, so-called friends, the same rules pertain to those friends. I think that there's a lot of people that they call themselves friends, but they're not.
Right.
They talk about each other. They're jealous of each other. They put you down. I've known of people that be like, "That's my friend." Well, I'm sorry, you just put them down.
Right.
You talk negative about them. One thing is to talk about something that is true,
That
but doing it
happens.
with a right intention, so that
Right.
we can pray about it,
Right.
pray for
Oh,
them.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's different.
There is.
But to talk about a person and their business, like I know that I always check my heart, and when I share something, it's because I trust that person, and
Right.
because I tell them we need to pray about
Right.
this person,
Yeah.
or pray about their situation, because a lot of times we are judging people, condemning and persecuting them when we ourselves have no idea. Listen, God has been bringing so many people around me. I don't know about you ladies, but that have had such toxic relationships in their lives,
Right.
with their baby mama, their baby daddy, all these unhealthy, toxic relationships, because they themselves came from this toxic relationship. Listen to me. They came from a broken home with toxic relationship. They themselves now have had a toxic relationship. Now their home is broken.
Yeah.
Right.
And so a lot of people stay together because they don't want their child to be without a father, because they did not have a father. I didn't have a father. He didn't have a father. We don't have to not have a father, but yet our relationship is so unhealthy and so toxic.
Right.
And that child, what are you teaching that child?
Right. To
Yeah.
deal with that type of
Right,
behavior
behavior.
and accept it for
And
what
it's
it is,
not.
and it's not.
It's not healthy.
It's not.
It's not healthy at all. And so a lot of people have this perception. I'm going to stay with my kid because they're children, yet I'm going to be dysfunctional. I'm going to be disrespectful. I'm going to be cheating on them. But as long as the kids don't see it. Or if they see it, but at least I'm home. No, you're not
Right.
home.
Yeah.
You know, what are other things, Marisol, that you would say to someone if they've been in a dysfunctional relationship, marriage, just all around, especially with marriage, right? Because a lot of times we have to learn from that. A lot of times it takes us 2 or 3 times, let's be honest.
Oh, yes.
Because we're still full of toxic and hurt and pain,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know how to get rid of it.
Right. It took me 40 years, you know, through the same cycle. I was 42, you know, when I went through it, you know, and it takes a while. But just again, you can't be alone through it. Don't be alone. Sometimes we isolate.
Yeah.
Yes.
We isolate because we're embarrassed.
Right.
Let's just say it. We're
Someone else
embarrassed.
just told me that.
You know,
I isolate myself.
We isolate because you're embarrassed, especially being a Christian. And listen, Christians or no Christians in the church, you might be struggling through this. This is so
Yeah.
important, please. If you are in the church and you might be going through because your husband has a title, or you're in a leadership position, or you're there and you're scared to talk about it, you please find somebody in your church that you need to talk about it, because it has to be open, it has to be broken, it has to be exposed.
Yeah.
This is not good.
It's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. It's not right. And before God, you accountable before God. It's you and Him at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, so you have to reach out, find someone, a counselor, somebody that it could be outside you. Again, you have to find somebody. Again, like you were saying, that they are not somebody that is the same situation that you're at. You know, but don't isolate. Don't isolate. Nowadays, people are isolating because they are embarrassed. I mean, it took me a while. You know, again, I've been in relationships before, and it was easy. I wasn't walking the walk back in the day. You know, yeah, I'd known the Lord for 22 years, 23 years, but I backslidden after 6 years in that, you know. And then here it's easy that you could preach to somebody about your life, but then you're not even walking it.
Right.
You know, so again, you're going to walk. It's important to talk and walk it out, you know, because people are going to respect it. Your integrity and your character is going to be shown.
Right.
People are going to watch your move more and more.
Yeah.
You say, okay, wait a second, this girl, she's the real thing, or this guy's the real thing. You know, listen, we all fall short. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. We
Okay,
all do.
we come to the point, hey, forgive me, and forgive yourself too. As soon as God forgives you and you receive His forgiveness, get ready to forgive yourself. Okay, man, I lost it today. Let me brush it off and get up and keep going. Don't stay in that muck. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what the enemy would want, to keep us
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Listen, we're not perfect, but we are striving more with His help, with the Holy Spirit, because He's the only one that's going to help us.
Right.
You know, but get to that point. Keep surrendering, keep humbling, keep laying all the junk out, you know, and just say, come on, we're here together. There's more junk. Until I go home, there's going to be more junk pulled out. Okay, oh, I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, God. You know what I
Right.
mean? But we need each other. So
Right.
that's what I would just, encourage. Get somebody, talk it out. Don't be alone. Don't isolate. And just, hey, know that you're loved.
Yeah.
You know, we're all here together. You're no better than me. We're we're here together through this walk. So.
You know, I want to, you touched another subject. A lot of people believe that everyone that goes to church, whatever church, denomination you may believe in, people believe that they have it all together.
No.
And they don't. They
No.
don't, because there's a lack of relationship, communication.
Yeah.
And I really want to say that this is very important. There are many Christians that are going through some very, very, very toxic relationship and marriages.
Yeah.
Abusive, lust, lies, cheating, hitting, drinking.
Yeah,
Listen, please listen.
it's important.
It's important that you get help. It's important that you reach out to someone.
Yes.
Because like you said,
Yeah.
they're full of shame. They don't want
Yeah.
everyone to know.
Right.
We're going to church.
Right.
He's serving here. I'm serving here.
Right.
If they knew what we were going through at
Right.
home, they're going to kick us out or they're going to look at us
Yeah.
different. Listen, that's not what the Lord wants for you.
Mm-hmm.
Christian or non-Christian,
Yeah.
go to church or not go to
Yes.
church. It's not okay for us to be in a toxic relationship. It's not okay for us to have someone to beat on us, to drink, to leave the house and come when they want to come back. It's not okay.
Yeah.
And so we go through this
Yeah.
because I know of people, right? The couples
Yeah.
that are going through the worst of the worst,
Yeah.
but they stay in it
Yeah.
because they're in church or because they're worried about people
Yeah.
say
Right.
or because they think I'm going to keep praying, they're going to change.
Yeah.
No. Listen, prayer is extremely needed.
Yes.
Prayer is needed.
Yes.
But
Yes.
prayer is not everything. We need help.
Yes, we do.
And help is counseling. Help is getting counseling for somebody who already has experience and has knowledge, wisdom, and
Yes.
understanding.
Yes.
Counseling, surrounding yourself with positive people.
Yes.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Yes,
Taking time for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we
Get healed.
consume ourselves
Yep.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then making sure that we tell the other person it's not okay for this behavior. And
Yeah.
if you don't get help, then I cannot be with you until you
No.
get help.
Right.
Because I'm concerned for my health, well-being, and my child.
Right. And can
Go ahead. Yes, absolutely.
You know, the beauty of this is that, I mean, I'm able to help others now because I've been walking it out for these
Mhm.
13 years, you know, and I'm going through it, and I've gone through it, and I could understand where you're at, you know, so I'm going to reach people that you can't reach
Yeah,
and vice
yeah.
versa.
Yeah.
And even back to the church, you know, don't be scared to talk to a leader because you know what? They're there for you too. They will sit with you and they'll guide you and direct you.
Right.
If they have to send you to a rehab or wherever it is, it doesn't matter, wherever. You know, they're there for you. They're not your enemies either. So sometimes the enemy will play with that
Yeah.
and, you know, and then just take it into another way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, you know, no, you know, the body is together to help, to uplift, to edify, to encourage, but also to, if you need to take a sabbatical, please.
Yeah.
I've taken sabbatical, you know, for a couple of years, going through a different transition in a different church at a time. Because it's time to just sit and hear from God. It's time to just empty, get empty, go into different courses or classes and just, like I said, talk to somebody. But you need that, and it's okay. It is
Yeah.
okay.
We all need it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's okay. Just the key is to talk about it. Let it out.
Another thing, don't keep saying to yourself,
Yeah.
don't keep saying to yourself, it's my fault, there's something wrong with me.
Right,
No,
right.
because you will have
Right.
someone that tell you it's you.
Right.
No, cut that umbilical cord and be like,
Yes.
no, I'm done. Because if I stay stuck to this umbilical cord, we're both gonna die.
Yes.
Stop thinking that you're the problem. Yes, you may have problems,
Yeah.
but if that person made a decision to be with you, they knew of that problem.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So they shouldn't keep putting flame on that fire. Go ahead, Barbara.
What you were talking about in terms of relationships and like asking for help, like, and the shame. Like, I remember at one point in my marriage with my husband, we hit kind of like a rock bottom in our relationship, and I felt like I was consumed by him in terms of putting him in a position where like everything revolved around him,
Mm-hmm.
and that was not good.
Right.
Because I think I've gotten that from other areas in my life, even in friendships, where I would want to pour out all my love to that person, but it wasn't reciprocated.
Mm.
So when we were going through what we were going through, I couldn't understand why is this happening, and it was like, okay, I'm consumed by our relationship. That shouldn't be happening.
Right.
So when we got to that point, I was like, this isn't good. Like, this isn't good for our marriage. You need to do something. I need to do something. But this is not healthy.
Right.
This is not going to work for our kids, for us. it's not going to work.
Right.
We both have work to do. We both have our faults. And you have to take accountability for your actions. If you're not, if you're pointing the finger at each other, that's not going to help.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
And another thing is that one thing I got from counseling and just learning about how to have a thriving relationship and marriage is that you have to set standards and different standards, because if you don't teach people and based on your standards, then they're not going to learn what you need from them in terms of having
Right.
a healthy relationship. You might not have the same expectations because maybe perhaps it's a different relationship, whether it be friendship or marriage or whatever. But if you don't set the standard and you don't look at the whole picture, then it's going to be a toxic relationship no matter what you try to do. You have to set the standard for yourself. If you don't do that, you're not gonna, you're putting yourself down, your self-worth down, and that person's not gonna level up to where you need them to meet you.
Right.
So you shouldn't be accepting nothing less than what you deserve.
Right.
Is from what I got from just learning about relationships and our marriage, and that's what has changed throughout our marriage and other relationships within my family, and just entirely like me looking at outside of what was the root cause of all of my dysfunctionalities within my relationship with others. That was the root cause. Is like, okay, you don't love yourself enough to
That's the key.
to ask for what you need,
Right.
and set the standards. Therefore, you're not going to have thriving relationships.
Yeah.
And that's a really good, important subject there. That a lot of times because we don't validate ourselves, we allow others to put us down,
Right.
or we don't want to lose them because we saw somebody else leave somebody or leave us.
Yeah.
So we, it's okay. It's not okay. That's not love. That's not a relationship. And we need to, we need to have a relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? We need to
so good.
look in the mirror and
Yes.
say, good morning.
Yes.
You are beautiful. You are
Yes.
fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
You've been made in the image of Christ. You have the mind of Christ. You can do all things. If you're feeling down, say, no, you made a mistake. You learn from it.
Yes.
You get back up.
Yeah.
You need to have your own relationship.
Yes.
Oh, God, you made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'll learn from it. I won't do it again. It may take a few times.
Yeah.
But have those conversations with you.
Yes.
Instead of allowing the negative have a conversation with you, you turn around and be like, no, I made a mistake. I asked for forgiveness. I'm good now. No, it's not acceptable for you to talk to me like that, right?
Right.
So I'm going to love myself. We need to have a relation with ourselves that we love ourselves, that we want to grow and become selfless. How about if you look in the mirror and say, how about if you look in the mirror and say, you know what? Let's start being a blessing to somebody else.
Yes.
Let's help the homeless. Those are relationships.
Yes.
Marisol was just, when she came here, talked about a relationship that she just happened and led someone to Christ, right? A homeless person. We need to start looking at them. And I shared before, we're all homeless. Yeah. We're all in the spirit. Many of us, we're homeless, or we're that beggar in the corner. We want to be, affirm that love, that relationship. I met someone, this past week, going through some pain. And, when I first met them, they were like, with this wall up. But with love and integrity, God's wisdom, you talk to them. Talk to them. Because they're in a hurting place. And they need what you have. Right? We all need what someone doesn't have. So your pain and shame is someone else's gain, because now you learn from it. And now you share with them and you become a blessing.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
And a blessing is not all about money.
No.
We have this perception that it's about buying or money or giving or doing.
Or the exterior.
Right.
Looks, how it looks.
Right. Yeah.
But a relationship is not about that at all. It's about communication.
Yeah.
Like today, and let's be honest. today, I had a couple of people here, and I'm listening, and I'm sharing, and I'm listening, but we started with prayer. Let's start our relationship with prayer, because I didn't know one of the persons, right? But even if I don't know you, whether you're a believer or not, I'm going to start in what I believe in, which is Christ Jesus, right? And I'm just going to pray. And I'm just going to ask God to be in the middle of here. It ended up being something completely different, but it's building relationships.
Yes.
Building relationships to be able to be a blessing unto others.
Yes.
Right? So, what do you take from this today, Barbara?
Well, I took from what you were talking about, just feeling like how the devil can try to work to shame you and isolate you. That happened to me.
Yeah.
And I could relate to that, and it's just like a whole lie.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so what would you tell someone who isolates themselves?
So if you isolate yourself, the first thing to do is I would reach out to someone that you entrust your experience with, like somebody that is not toxic, somebody that you can genuinely feel comfortable speaking to, without feeling judged, without feeling as if you're a burden. Because I feel like sometimes when you do that, you go through an isolation period is because you don't want to be a burden unto others.
Right.
And that's another lie.
Yeah.
So take that off of your mind and allow someone to help you. I think a lot of times we don't ask for help when we really need it.
Right.
So I would ask for help, and I would ask if you're from a church community and you have a close relationship with some of the members there, the pastor, or the wife, or whoever, like in the church, have them lead you into a place where you can get counseling, whether from them directly. Have them lead you in prayer. I think a lot of times we forget how prayer can help you, even though
it's not going to fix it.
It's not
Right.
going to help
But
you.
it's gonna help you.
Yeah, I think when you have other members praying for you,
Yes,
Yes.
it's important.
absolutely.
And get therapy, get counseling, seek counseling,
Yes.
seek help. Isolation can make you feel like you're small in this big.
And you don't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And you do matter. You're
do.
not alone.
Right.
And I want to say, for those that are going through very toxic domestic violence relationship, please don't stay in it. Please don't stay in that toxic relationship. Your child needs you, especially if you have children. They need you to be healthy. They need you to be happy. And if you stay in that toxic relationship, that domestic violence, you isolate yourself and you're bleeding, get some help. Call. There's so many hotlines. There's so many places that you can go. We'll put some up on our and our Facebook page, and I'm also going to our website should be up by the end of this week or next week. But Marisol, what would you tell? What can you learn from today?
Wow, I think it starts with loving yourself, healing first. You got, in order to get healthy relationships, if you're not healthy, how are you going to give something you don't have?
Yeah.
So I would recommend just look at yourself. If you're single, start loving that stage you're at.
Right.
It's okay to be single. It's okay. Start loving yourself. Start dealing with the things little by little. Get healthy. Get nurtured. Build relationship with other girls and start doing things. And it's okay to be alone, like we were talking earlier. It's okay to sit home and say, oh, okay, take your shoes off, and I'm putting a movie Hallmark. Here we go. Where's my doggies? And just that quiet time. Embrace it. Because when you are in another relationship down the road, that quietness is not going to be there.
Right.
You're going to have to find that time, right?
Yeah.
You guys have children, so, so again, start dealing with self. Start dealing with that.
Self-love.
Yeah, self-love. Start encouraging
That
all
relationship
those,
with yourself.
with yourself this way too. So Just
My
enjoy
husband
that.
said something really great last week, and it's like, if you don't have a relation this way, then you should not be in a relationship this way.
Exactly.
That's what I said last.
Yes,
I don't even know
yes,
when, but I told
yes.
somebody that,
Yes.
and it's exactly.
It
It's
is.
the vertical. Then you
Yes.
could do the horizontal.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true.
So stop the bleeding, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to have a healthy, happy relationship, you want to stop the
self-love.
bleeding.
Yeah.
But you have to have self-love. You need to get help. Surround yourself with those that are positive, like-minded. Don't
Yes.
be around toxic people. Don't do not tolerate toxic behaviors, right?
Right.
A lot of people say, I don't want to be in this toxic relationship. I love them, right? I love that person. I just don't love their attitude. They're toxic. That is coming onto me.
Yeah.
But if they're not willing to change, you
That's
can't
okay.
change
You
them.
can't.
You can't change anyone. You
You
need
love them
to
from afar.
Yes.
Like you said.
right.
Yes.
You forgive them. You love them from afar.
And
They
pray
need
for
help.
them.
You
We were just talking
drop
about
off that food or that clothing
Yeah,
or
pray
whatever,
for
and then you
them.
leave.
Yeah.
It
You
doesn't mean
become
right.
like them, right? You become like
Right.
them after
You don't
a while.
want right.
Yeah.
You don't right because pain attracts pain.
Yeah.
Hurt people,
Self-pity.
and none of that is healthy. So we want to be in healthy relationships, okay? So we want to thank you for joining us. We'll put some information on our Facebook page. We'll keep you posted on our next Sunday. We will be here for the month of April at 3 o'clock on Sundays. But starting in May, we're going to go Friday evenings. And next month, May is all about mothers. So it's going to be a lot of great information, single mothers, single,
spiritual mother.
right, spiritual mothers, singles. There's a lot when it comes to mothers. The struggle is real when it's a single mother.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concepts when it comes to motherhood, being a mother. So that's going to be for the month of May. And we have a couple of great speakers already lined up for that. So we're excited to hear what they have to say. But again, we want to thank you for joining us. We pray that today's episode has been a blessing to you, that you can take it and learn from it, that you can apply it, that you will be equipped with some more knowledge and understanding, and that, get some help if you need it. If you're not in a healthy relationship, get some help. And together we are one. I am Michelle.
I'm Marisol.
And I'm Barbara.
We pray that you have an awesome week. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye. God
Bye-bye.
bless you.